Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. Here at eTrailer, we install, test, fit, and review a lot of different parts. That way we can try to answer some of the questions that you might have. And that's exactly what we're doing today on our 2013 Nissan Frontier. We're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Curt 7-way vehicle wiring harness for trucks with a factory tow package. So I see a lot of people doing many different things with these Frontiers, and that includes towing some relatively large trailers. And most of those trailers are going to have this 7-way type connector. So having this on the back of your Nissan, you're going to be able to provide that trailer with those necessary lighting functions, not only to remain safe, but legal as well. So one of the big questions we get asked is how to set up a brake controller on these trucks. And this kit is going to make doing that very easy. Once you have this kit on, then you're simply able to get an adapter plug which goes underneath your truck's dash, which you can plug into the brake controller itself. So really straightforward process. If that's what you're trying to do, a couple of the brake controllers that I personally like are the package.So P2 and P3. Give you a lot of adjustability and very easy to figure out. But with that being said, it's a really nice kit that's going to get the job done. Now there is one thing I would have liked to have seen, and that's some brackets included. So you don't get any brackets, so what I did is just use a no-drill long bracket that's connected to our hitch, and then just a 7-way bracket. So if you want to mount yours up similar to this, you can find these brackets as well as many others right here at eTrailer. So the 7-way connector itself feels like it's built really well, should last a while. The lid has a little area there where you can easily get your finger on there to lift it up. Underneath, it's going to have a little catch here, and that'll prevent your wiring from accidentally getting pulled out. And it's also going to have a little rubber seal there on the bottom. The cap's spring-loaded, so when you're not using it, it's going to seal up nice and tight to help protect your terminals inside. Now, I do suggest, never a bad idea, every now and again just to apply some dielectric grease to those terminals, kind of go the extra mile and help prevent any corrosion. So I know a lot of you are probably wondering if your truck actually has that factory tow package connector. And I've seen quite a few of these pickups, and more often than not, they usually come equipped with them. So chances are pretty good your truck probably has it. In all honesty, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to figure out if it does or not. Pretty easy to locate. See those connectors, you know everything's going to work. But speaking of doing that, why don't we go ahead and install the kit together now. To begin our installation, what we're first going to do is assemble our harness that gets plugged in up here on the passenger front side of our truck. So pretty straightforward here. One side is going to have a single connector, which will plug into a factory connector eventually. The other end is just going to have 3 open connectors, and the 3 open connectors are going to get plugged into some relays, which are included. So this style relay, this blue one, will get plugged into the white connectors here. Like so. Then our brown relay is going to go to the brown plug. So now that we have this put together, we can find our factory connector, which should be located here on the passenger side, up by the kick panel. So to get to our connector, we're going to have to take off a couple of panels here. Really straightforward. We're first going to remove this piece, kind of a 2-in-1. It's part of our kick panel as well as our threshold, but you can just kind of grab behind it and pull it up and snap it loose. There's just a couple of plastic fasteners here that get pushed down into there. So once we have this removed, we can set it off to the side. So to get our actual kick panel off, we're going to have one plastic fastener right here. You can take a trim tool or a flathead screwdriver, kind of just pry underneath it, pop it loose. If you grab the kick panel and kind of pull towards the center of our truck, that will release. We'll set that to the side. With that out of the way, we can locate that connector. Now sometimes these are kind of buried a little bit, so you might have to kind of reach back in there. In our case, ours is right here. So as you can see, it's just a bare connector, nothing plugged into it. I'm just going to kind of grab it and pull it out a little bit, make it easier to work with. But our new wiring is simply just going to plug right into that connector. So the end of the connector will simply just pair up with our factory connector. Now you can't plug this in backwards or anything like that. So if it's not wanting to go in one way, you might have to spin it around. It should go nice and easy just like that. So I went ahead and just kind of tucked our wiring back up in there. That way it's not bouncing around, and make sure it's secure. And once we have that done, we can simply take our kick panel and reinstall it the opposite way that we removed it. And then we're able to do the same thing with our threshold. We'll just line it up and pop it back into position. So now we can come to the back of our Frontier, here underneath it on the driver's side, and we need to locate a couple more factory connectors. That way we can plug the rest of our wiring harness into. So if you look on the frame rail, we're going to have these two empty connectors. Now these are going to have what's called dummy plugs in them, and that's just there from the factory to keep them protected, and we need to remove those plugs. So sometimes it makes it a lot easier if you take a flathead screwdriver, kind of push down on the center of the tab, and then you can pull that plug out. So we won't be reusing those, so we'll just set them off the side. The same thing with this one here. Even sometimes it helps if one's kind of fighting you. What you can do is just get two screwdrivers. A lot of times these get a lot of dirt and stuff in them, and it can be a little tricky to get out. So you can push down on the tab with one screwdriver and take the other flat blade, just kind of pry it open. Now that we have that other plug popped out, we can grab our harness, and the ends are simply just going to match up with those connectors. Now, since this is outside the vehicle, I do suggest taking some dielectric grease and putting it on the terminals just to help keep them protected. You can pick up some of this dielectric grease right here at etrailer. I'll give them a coating and simply just plug them right in. So here's the other end of our wiring. Let's get it connected to our 7-way plug. So what I'll do is just run it through our bracket here. I want to mention these brackets don't come included with the kit, but you can pick them up right here at etrailer. So with that being said, take the end of our plug here and apply some more dielectric grease to those terminals. Keep them protected. Give that a good coating. You can then take our 7-way plug and simply just pair the two together. Now that we have it connected and in place, I'll just mount up and secure my 7-way. When I do these, I like to get all 4 of them kind of hand tight, and once they're all in place, then I can come back and snug them down. So I went ahead and just secured all of our loose wiring using a few of the included zip ties, and this is how it turned out. And now that we have everything hooked up, we can go ahead and test it to make sure that it's functioning properly. So to test our wiring, I'm just using this little tester here, and you can pick that up right here at etrailer. That being said, we'll try our left turn. our right turn, our running lights, our brake lights, our reverse lights, and if you happen to have a brake controller and something that used auxiliary power, at this point you would test out those as well. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Curt 7-way vehicle wiring harness for trucks that have a factory tow package on our 2013 Nissan Frontier.